I don't know how to tell my dad that he's destroying his relationship with my family. I 19 have a dad, who was a functioning alcoholic, and he has destroyed relationships in our family. Growing up we lived in poverty in a trailer next to my grandma's house, and during that time my dad got a DUI while driving with my sister, who was then a toddler, in the car. He's always had drinking issues and would never assault us, but wouldn't verbally talk down on us, and destroyed our self-esteem. Fast forward to my senior year of high school. I was taking concurrent classes and discovered my love for philosophy, and started to become religious after reading St. Thomas Aquinas. My dad at this point went through withdrawals as he had tried to stop drinking for a couple days and wound up in the hospital. I was told that he had a slim chance of living, and I had begged to God to save my father's life because while he had treated me and my sister poorly, I still love him a lot. He managed to recover and didn't remember anything about his withdrawals or his time in the hospital. After this, I had applied to a private university within my state, and got accepted with almost all of it paid off, with the exception of having to take out a small loan that was less than $10,000. My dad at this point was making close to six figures at the steel shop that he was working at, with my stepmom working at a hospital, so I figured that they could at least help me out with it. I'd even taken up a full-time job on top of my part-time job over the summer to help save up a little bit of money to use while in college. I wasn't home a whole lot, so I didn't really do much around the house, because anytime I was at the house I was sleeping because of how exhausted I was after I had asked my parents to sign off on the loan, which I had every intention of paying. They told me no because they didn't trust me with actually making payments, and that I wasn't ready for college, and that I was making good money at the steel shop that I was working at, so they thought it was a dumb decision. They then took away the car that I was paying off that was in their name, and left me to fend for myself. When it came to food, and finding a way to get to work, I enrolled at a small university and moved out of my parents' house to live with my girlfriend of 3 years, who has been very supportive of me going through college. I managed to smooth things over with my parents, and up until now things have been going pretty decently. I love my sister, but they have always treated her better than they did with me. They were always help my sister and brother-in-law whenever they needed anything, pay for their meals, give them their gifts during holidays and birthdays, and left me and my girlfriend stuck in the mud when it came to just about anything. Well, my sister had my newborn niece earlier this year, and my parents have been really excited about it and bought loads of baby stuff. But during the pregnancy, they were very overbearing when it came to the baby shower, watching my niece, etc. When my sister and my niece, they didn't allow my parents to visit her that often because she had a heart condition, and also because my parents are just too much. My parents wanted to talk to my sister and brother-in-law and my aunt to figure it out, but I just ended up in a pissing match where my dad and stepmom so that they didn't care about them, and that they never let them see my niece, my aunt, and try to be kind of the mediator between them, until my dad started going off on her, saying that my cousin was an autistic. This resulted in a physical altercation with my aunt beating the crap out of my dad and cutting ties with him. My sister and brother-in-law have now distanced themselves from my parents, and I have gotten better treatment from my parents with almost the same things that they did with my sister. I hate knowing that I was just a backup in case things and work out well with her. My parents are now considering moving to another state, escape the drama with my family that they caused leaving me behind, even though they pretty much said that I was the only family that actually cared about them. I don't know how to tell my dad that he's been an asshole and that what he's been doing is wrong. I'm not afraid of my dad trying to hurt me because I am bigger and have practiced boxing after I left to be able to defend myself. I am more afraid of losing my father from my life because I love him even though he's been rude and destructive. This may not be the most well organized, but I just don't know how to convey my thoughts correctly. I would appreciate any advice on what to do with the situation because, well, I want to tell him that this is all his fault and that he's just making things worse. I don't know how to tell him that, and frankly, I'm not sure if I should even tell him that, or let him leave without saying a thing. Thank you. Comnet. Well, first off, let me say I have been in your situation, not exactly the same but close. My dad is an alcoholic and he treated me and my two brothers like garbage. My dad also got a DUI driving drunk and injured my brother doing so. It wasn't the first or last time he would drive drunk. He beat on my mom and on me when I tried to stop her beatings. Addicts are selfish, and point blank your dad being a narcissist will not change. You need to figure out if it's worth staying in contact with him. Telling him how you feel would make you feel better, but it won't change how he is as a person. Writing it helps get it out, but you know now that you can survive and thrive on your own without his help. If telling him off will make you or your family's life worse, I don't know if I would do it. How much would you lose if you didn't have your father around? You know he is toxic. On top of that, you have came this far with your girlfriend being the only real support. She's your rock. You don't need your dad to live the life you deserve. However, it is your choice to say something or not. I'm sorry, Op. I feel bad for you. I wish I felt like making an effort to keep your absolutely terrible parents in your life would be a good thing for you, but these people are set in their ways, they are narcissistic and they really don't care about you. They're being nice to you now to point out to your sister what she is missing, and this is also an attempt to keep you on their side. They are going to hurt you, emotionally, and they will keep doing it as long as you let them. The things they did to you were inexcusable. I know it's hard and you just want them to love you, but they don't. People who love you don't act the way they did. They tried to keep you down and affect your future by trying to keep you out of college. They actively sabotaged your opportunities. They took away the car you had been paying for and wouldn't even feed you. I'm proud of you for doing what you needed to do to go anyway. When you don't let them run over you and you set boundaries, they will treat you the same way they have treated your sister. There's a good chance you will have a difficult time maintaining a relationship with a partner that cares for you because they will be so outraged about the way your parents treat you. I'm making these assumptions because my mom was this person. I don't speak to her anymore. Please check with your school and see about getting some therapy through them to help you with this. I wish you the very best, Op. You seem like a sensitive and caring person. Next story 2. Simply a crazy high school backstabbing friend story. This happened a while ago, but me and my two closest friends were mutual best friends with another girl. With me and my two closest friends, everything just flowed so easily. We hardly argued, and when we did, we were able to communicate and solve the issue easily. But with the other friend, it was always rocky. She got along with everybody else in the group just fine, except me. Me and her would get into arguments about things that I do that upset her, one of them being cursing, which she didn't like, and I apologized and took accountability, saying I will not curse in front of her, and I respected the way she felt about it. She had said something along the lines of if I did not stop completely then we could no longer be friends. I said I wouldn't, and we continued being friends. She had also complained to my friends several times about my romantic life, saying she didn't like that I had had more than one boyfriend in 1 year. They had told her it wasn't her place to judge someone like that since it wasn't her life, and we continued on as friends. Over time, situations like that kept happening where I was discussed by her and only her to my two closest friends, one of them my cousin, regarding my life and my relationships that in no way, shape, or form affected her, so I distanced myself from her simply because telling her personal things about myself constantly resulted in her talking negatively about me. It wasn't until we were all invited to participate in my friend's quinceañera that things turned worse. We all had to memorize specific dances and show up on time, and I missed a couple of practices since I was also involved in classes to get my driver's license. I was so busy and running everywhere that I just couldn't go to one or two. On one practice where I wasn't there, she had decided to make me the topic of the conversation, saying I wasn't dedicated to the dance like she was, that I wasn't making the dance a priority, and that I just didn't care enough about my friend to put in enough effort. When I had shown up, she would drag my friend somewhere else and say she was just getting water, I later found out she would use that time to talk about how bad my dancing was and would criticize me. Stuff like that continued for the rest of the practices around a month or two, and although nobody told me what was happening, I could tell she was saying something she knew she didn't want to say in front of me. The quince rolled around, and I and my friends had an amazing time, all dancing our best in support of our lifelong friend. After school had started up again, the girl in my group who didn't like me caught COVID and missed 2 weeks of school. While she was away, my friends decided to tell me all the things she was saying about me prior to the day of the quince. I was annoyed, but not surprised. This has happened too many times with me and only me. I made the decision to not confront her but to completely detach myself from her. Confronting her only gave those words power. Weeks went by of petty arguments and several times of her storming away from our lunch table over me not giving in to her poor me, my life is unfixable pity parties, until I got called from the counselor's office. I had also heard through a friend that was also friends with her that she wanted to fight me, which was like WTH? Over this? I got into the counselor's office and she was on the couch crying with a box of tissues. For reference, think of the Mean Girls scene where Regina shows the principal the book, and said that she had no idea where things went wrong between us, how she loves me and would never hurt me, and how we used to be best friends, we were never close. I explained all of the things she had said about me, resulting in her rolling her eyes and accusing my friends of not being loyal to her, and decided to bring up old mistakes I had made separate from our friendship, trying to get me to react. I knew how to handle the situation, and just said what I knew and said I hoped to be cool with her, but that I wished to not talk to her anymore. The counselors agreed with me and said she sounded threatened by me. God knows why anybody would, and she moved schools after that for about 6 months until she came back and began dating my ex-boyfriend. He's a 16-year-old pedophile, hence why he's the ex, and she decided to date him anyway. I don't like her, but I genuinely wish good things for her. She deserves to get out of that toxicity and grow from it.